Corry from Eoghan Travel Magazine joins us now via Skype. So Eoghan, the new green list, tell us how many countries are on it.
We're down to zero. What started off as a farce with countries with no airports, it looked like a green list for Craggy Island. But as we reached the final episode, it's also clear Father Dougal was in charge of it.
Okay, are there actually people travelling to and from Ireland to countries that are not on the green list, and in what volume?
They're down to about 10,000 a day through the airport in both directions, Matt. That would have peaked at around 17,000 a day in August. And the answer is yes. Almost all the travel is to countries which are not on the green list. We had effectively Finland with 2 flights a week, I think, was on the green list last time round. It doesn't really make that much difference because the volume traffic is still to the places that the largest number of Irish flights go to, which are basically Britain, Spain, Portugal and Germany.
Now, we're worried, of course, about bringing the illness in from those countries to us. But is there any sense that those countries mightn't be too happy about getting flights from Ireland, that Irish people could be bringing the illness to them?
There's been talk about it in Britain for quite a while, but no action. The Germans have actually moved on it. September the 23rd, they put Dublin on a red list, which means that you have to be tested. You will be tested for free as you land if you come from Dublin. A week later, they added Northern Ireland and they added the border region to that. The German example is really important because we're not sure what the government has in mind when it talks about aligning with Europe next week. One of the things most European countries are doing with is making distinction by region. That would, for instance, place Madeira in the clear zone, whereas Portugal would not. We're also not clear what metrics they'll adopt, because there are a green and an orange through which no travel restrictions are supposed to take place, and also a third metric which is above 3% positive, so as not to penalise countries which test a lot of people. The mood music from the Irish government, Matt, sadly, is that they will just pick the least useful part of the European travel opening of borders that they didn't sign up for in June and have talked about signing up for next week.
Okay, and one final thing, Eoghan, Corry. Then when people do come into the country, are we still expecting them to self-isolate for 14 days? Will that go under the new EU system for certain countries and regions?
The theory, Matt, is yes, unrestricted travel for countries in the green and orange and with the 3% positive. That is going to be an Irish government decision because each country has the option of opting out of it. We never opted into the last system, and the sort of language Eamon Ryan was using to the Oireachtas Transport Committee yesterday suggests that we're not really going to opt in next week, and we probably procrastinate a little bit. Will that be enough time to save, for instance, the services to Cork and Shannon Airport? I'm not sure.
Eoghan, Corry, thank you very much for joining us on The Tonight Show.
Always a pleasure, Matt.
So Dr. Jack Lambert has stayed with us. We're also joined by Carl Dieter, the financial advisor. But back to you, Jack. If we're restricting people's movements between counties here on the island, does it not make sense that we have a system where we don't want people flying in from other countries?
Well, I think we can't ban all travel, but we need to have border security, i.e. testing or some kind of a robust system when people come into the country to be able to test them, evaluate them, guarantee that they do quarantine and they're not spreading the virus.
But does that system exist? Is it possible to do that safely?
It's absolutely safe. Many countries throughout the world are currently doing that. If you look at the Caribbean countries, you look at Central America, they had all set, because the tourism they depend upon 90%. They were all set up in August with, as you come into the country, PCR testing, monitoring, assessments. Iceland has a system set up. We had an opportunity between May, when the surge ended, and things were quiet, to prepare for the next surge, including travel and border security. And we haven't done much, if anything. during that time.
Well, Carl, what about the aviation sector, which is a massive employer before it even provides people to come in for tourism and other reasons? Have we been excessively cautious, perhaps, in relation to allowing flights into the country?
I don't know the answer to that. What I would say is this is an island nation. We need our aviation sector. You know, you can't travel to Europe by train. This is very obvious to me. So we need a vibrant and working aviation sector.